All right, Assalamualaikum and very good morning, Dr. Kai. So today we will present about something in our assignment one. Choose the latest issue from the internet. So we already choose the latest CPU, that's the AMD Ryzen 9 7950X. So before we going through what is the AMD Ryzen 9, let me introduce our team member. My name is HAZIF bin HAZMAN with metric number 215278.
My name is Muhammad AIMAN bin NAUFAL 215688.
My name is Muhammad ULWAN bin ANUAR. My metric number is 215746.
Okay, thank you, ARIQ and AIMAN. That's our team group member. So we going next slide. It's a brief introduction from the question. We should explain the brief introduction. So in the brief introduction, what is the AMD Ryzen 9 7950X? This is the best processor on the market right now because it's the latest processor, 2023, sorry, and it has energy efficient and support for the latest DDR5 and PCIe 5.0 technology. So what is the DDR5? DDR5 is the latest RAM in 2023, which is suitable to use the AMD Ryzen 9. So there is no area where the processor doesn't either match or surpass computing chips on the market, and coming in at a slightly lower price point that its predecessor is the enthusiast processor to own right now. So this what actually AMD Ryzen 9 7950X. So next, I will pass this presentation to Arin.
Okay, so for the performance of Ryzen 9, 7950X features is it has 16 cores and 32 threads, making it one of the most powerful processors in the market. Not only that, it has high clock speed because the base clock speed is 4.5 gigahertz and a boost clock speed at 5.7 gigahertz. It also has 64 MB of L3 cache, which helps to improve performance by storing frequently accessed data. Next, it has a GDP of 170 watt, which means that it requires a very powerful power supply. Next, it uses socket AM5. This means that it is not compatible with previous generation of AMD processors. It already released at Q4 of 2022, and it comes at a price point of $699. Next is the benchmark for Ryzen 9 7950X. So if you don't know, benchmark is a test that measures the performance of computer system. As you can see, AMD Ryzen 9 have a quite high points for their benchmark, but it still can't compete with the other processor like Intel Core i9. If you don't know, the Cinebench R23, Geekbench 5, and 3D Mark times Pi is actually the app that measure the benchmark for the CPU. Yeah. I will pass it to Aiman.
Thank you Ali, for explaining the benchmark of this sphere. Right now, I will explain the microarchitecture overview, architecture for the CPU Ryzen 9. So this is the microarchitecture overview of the CPU. So next. So this the upper level of the microarchitecture of the Ryzen. So we start from the right is branch prediction. A prediction first refer to a feature or mechanism that predict the outcome or of conditional branches in the program code. Branch prediction help the processor anticipate whether a branch, such as an if-else statement or a loop, will be taken or not taken, enabling the CPU to prefetch and execute instruction at time. So below of the branch prediction, the OP cache. Refer to the micro OP cache, also known as the OP cache or micro OP cache. The micro OP cache is a specialized cache that store decoded micro operation, micro ops, generated by the instruction decoder. So to the left, we can see 32K I cache at way is referred to the level 1 instruction cache. The meaning of each of the word is 32K specify the size of the cache in kilobytes. In this case, it indicates that the level 1 instruction cache has a capacity of 32 kilobytes. For the I cache, it stands for instruction cache. It is a cache memory specifically dedicated to storing instruction fetched from memory. For the 8-way, 8-way represents the associative of the cache, and 8-way associate cache means that each location in the cache can store instruction from up to 8 different memory locations, provided more flexibility and reducing the chance of cache conflict. Level 1 instruction cache is a small and fast cache located closest to the CPU, core in the memory hierarchy. It stores instructions that are frequently accessed by the CPU, allowing for quicker access and executing of instruction. So below the 32K I cache 8-way is stated that decode. Decode refers to the stage in the processing pipeline where fetch instructions are interpreted and prepared for execution. For the last part, micro-op queue. Micro-op queue refers to component in the processing pipeline that hold micro-operation, micro-ops, after they have been decoded and before they are dispatched for execution. So next slide. The slide is this is the integer and floating point is the execution engine. Refer to the component responsible for executing instruction and carry out computation. It encompasses various functional units and resources that work together to execute instruction efficiently. So we go for the integer. So the schedule for so the integer stated that integer rename and the schedule integer rename. The integer rename refer to a stage in the processor pipeline where integer operations are assigned unique register, identified or renamed to enable out of order execution and parallel processing of integer instruction. Below that is scheduler. Scheduler for integer operation is responsible for managing and scheduling the execution of integer instruction. Below that is integer physical register file. It's referred to the component that store physical register used for holding integer data during computation. So below that is ALU, BR, AGU, and the represent sequence of operation involving different unit within the process. ALU represent as arithmetic logic unit. For BR is branch, and AGU is address generation unit. So next slide. We will focusing on the floating region, that is floating point rename. Floating rename refer to a stage in the processor pipeline where floating point operation are assigned unique register identifier or rename to enable out of order execution and parallel processing of floating point instruction. So below is scheduler. Scheduler refer to component of stage in the process pipeline that is possible for managing executing the execution of instruction. Below that is FP register file. Is referred to the component that store floating point data and register used for floating computation. So the below that is F2I, ST, MUL, MAC, ADD, MUL, MAC, ADD, and ST. Is appeared to be a sequence floating point integer operation commonly found in the computational test. So next slide. So now we are focusing on the below of the microarchitecture of the CPU. That's its load or store queues. Load or store queues are a specialized structure within the memory subsystem that facilitate efficient execution of load and store instruction. So right of the arrow is 32K D cache 8-way. It's referred to the level 1 data cache, D cache, in the processor memory hierarchy. So the meaning of each of the word is D cache refer to data cache. It's a small but fast memory component located close to the processor execution unit. Its primary purpose is to store recently accessed data from the main memory, reducing the latency of subsequent memory access. So for 32K, is specify the size of the cache is 32 kilobytes. So 8 ways is referred to the cache associated with determine how the cache is organized and how the data is mapped to cache location, and 8-way set associative cache mean that the cache is divided into set, and each set has an 8 cache or storage location. This organization allows for efficient data retrieval and reduce the likelihood of the cache conflict. So the bottom right is 1 MB L2 I plus D cache 8 ways. It is referred to level 2 cache in the processor memory hierarchy. So L2 cache is a larger and slower memory component compared to the L1 cache. It sits between the L1 cache and the memory. The L2 cache serves as secondary cache, providing additional storage for the memory access data. So 1 MB is specialized size for the L2 cache that we refer to as 1 megabytes. So this represents the total amount of data that can be stored in the L2 cache. So I plus D is indicate that L2 cache is unified cache, meaning it stores both instruction and the data information. So unified cache are designed to reduce cache duplication and provide flexibility accommodation different type of memory access. So the last word is 8 ways. 8 ways refer to cache associative. We demand how the cache is organized and how the data is mapped to cache location. And 8 ways set associative cache mean that the cache is divided into set, and each set has 8 cache lines or storage location. This organization allows for efficient data retrieval and reduce the likelihood of cache conflict. So next slide. So in the last part for block diagram, this is cache hierarchy of the CPU. So at the right, it states that 32 MB L3 I plus D cache 16 ways. Refer to L3 cache in the processor memory hierarchy. So L3 cache is the largest and the slowest in the processor memory hierarchy. It sits between the L2 cache and the memory. The LSP provide large capacity and help improve overall performance by reducing the latency of accessing data from the memory. TD2 represent as 32 megabytes. So ID is represent is instruction and data information that unify in the L3 cache. So 16 way refer to the cache associative, which determine how the cache is organized, how the data is mapped to cache location. And 16 way set associative cache mean that the cache is divided into set, and each set has a 16 cache line or storage location. This organization allows the efficient data retrieval and reduce likelihood of caching conflict. So on the left, there's state that 3 load max 24256 bit is refer to the capability of the processor load unit to handle memory load instruction. So 3 loads indicates that the processor has 3 load units with a dedicated functional unit processor for executing load instruction. The instructions are used to fetch data from memory into the register for further processing. For max 24256 bit, is to specify the maximum number of load instructions that can be executed concurrently when dealing with 256-bit data. This means that memory loads involving 256-bit data, the processor can handle the maximum 2 loads instructions simultaneously. So for the below that, to store max 1 for 256-bit also is the referred to capability of the processor store unit to handle the memory store instruction. So to store indicated has a 2 store units. For max 1 for 256-bit is maximum number of instructions that can be executed when dealing with 256-bit of data. So for that, you can see 3 to B fetch is typically referred to the size of instruction fetch, which indicates the amount of instruction data can be fetched from the memory subsystem in a single fetch processing. So that's all from me for the block diagram.
All right, thank you, Arman. So I can say if the most powerful CPU, it most complicated, right, Aiman? So we can see Aiman already explained how the CPU, how the AMD Ryzen 9 7950X work. So we going through to the advantage and disadvantage. So the first advantages is excellent performance in both single core and multi-core workloads. Of course, obviously, because this latest CPU in 2023, sorry. And for the second advantages is very power efficient. And the last, good value for the price because it's not too expensive, not too expensive lah. So we're going to the disadvantages. The first advantages is expensive. So like Arik said, the price is not suitable if you are student or maybe you are not going to make a workload or maybe not suitable for you. So like Arik said, the price is $699, right, Arik? So for the second disadvantages is require a new AM5 motherboard. So if you don't have any AM5 motherboard, you cannot use this CPU. And last but not least, not as good for overclocking as some other CPUs. So that's all for advantage and disadvantages. And next is a conclusion. As we can see in this conclusion, I will read, if you only need to the general use computing like shopping, online, streaming, movie, and some like activity, productivity work, then a Ryzen 3 or Ryzen 5 processor is more than enough for your needs, and getting a Ryzen 7 or a Ryzen 9 will barely add anything to your user experience while also costing significantly more. If you are looking to do a lot of PC gaming and content creation, then you will definitely want to go with the Ryzen 7 or Ryzen 9 for this CPU. If you have like this conclusion in our presentation. So that's all from us, right, Arik and Aiman? So thank you very much. Thank you, Doctor. Assalamualaikum.